Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and what a delight. It's been a while, but I am delighted to have back with us today our good friend, Dr. Jerome Corsi. He's the WND senior staff writer. He's authored more books than one person should be allowed to write, but they're all great. And let me encourage you to check him out at WorldNet Daily. But today, or WND, today we want to talk about his latest book, Goodnight Obama. It's a little bit of a parody, and we're going to talk to him about that coming up right now. Hi, Jerome. Good to see you. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas, Perry. Good to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of an interesting twist. What are you doing here with Goodnight Obama?
I decided, look, it's a cartoon book. I mean, you can see it right there. I decided to have some fun with Obama leaving office. I thought we had to have the last laugh. We've suffered through 8 years. I mean, I wrote Abomination in 2008 and predicted all this, but here we got Goodnight Obama. We're finally going to have him leave right there. And you can see I start the book, he's sleeping on his desk in his PJs. You can see him there with his Democratic pajamas, right. The footies and the head cap, and he's on his Oval Office desk. You can see the golf clubs there in the corner, and then out the window you can see the Muslim moon. So it's Goodnight Obama, And we're going to say goodnight to all of his different policies that we've had to put up with for all these years. I decided, to do a parody, because if you can't laugh at it, you got to be able to laugh. Of course, the left doesn't believe we can laugh at anything that they hold sacred, but I don't believe that. I was raised by the World War II generation, and they could laugh at anything.
There you go. Give us a couple examples in the book.
Well, let's do a couple ones. This is, you can see, we got Jeremiah Wright, and he's in the feeding the roosters here. Remember Jeremiah Wright from Obama's first term, the Reverend who, said nice things about America. And he's feeding the roosters. Of course, the roosters have their little ISIS flag. And if you can see, they got their AK-47s and their black headbands. And what it says is the evil ISIS once called a JV team. And then on the next page here, you got Hillary Clinton. And you can see she's on the toilet, of course, wearing her beautiful pink pantsuit with her emails there piled up all around her. And it says, so we got evil ISIS once called a JV team, and Hillary's classified emails printed by the Ream. So.
Jerome, you're drinking too much coffee.
Well, it's the spirit of the book. I mean, I think we got we've gone through all these policies. Of course, if you read my reviews on Amazon.com, they say, it's a hateful book and it's racist and sexist and it shouldn't have been published. Of course, the left has no sense of the First Amendment, has no sense of humor. Hillary Clinton can't even accept being lost, that she lost the election. And so I just got to go through. Here we got everybody coming across the border. They're climbing the fence. And it says, good night safety. Let's open the borders. Here you got, next page is Obama at his desk in his pajamas, and it says, good night Constitution by executive orders.
Oh,
and his desk, he's got his Crayolas, if you can see there. He's got his crayons. He's signing executive orders while the Constitution's burning away on his desk.
Wow. Well, hey, Jerome, what do you think his legacy will be? I realize it's got to settle down. It means different things to different people. But how do you think history will write this one?
He's going to be a failed presidency. Like I wrote in the Abomination in 2008 when I wrote that book, he was far leftist, pushed the country way far left. The economy, we had $10 trillion of debt. He doubled the national debt. As much national debt he accumulated, Barack Obama, as all previous presidents put together. I said we would be in a worse position with race relations. Obama's, endorsed the Black Lives Matter and has been waging a war against our police, which I think is absolutely disgraceful. And I'd say it would be worse in the military. And of course, I celebrate that. Here's Obama. He's lighting the lights outside the White House. You can see he's putting on the rainbow colors.
Right.
In the White House. And so it's, goodnight rainbow victories. And the next page, he's sleeping on a pile of money, which is all the $10 trillion in debt. And that's, I think, the Obama administration. I mean, by the time the left is so wacky, we're now debating transvestites in the military and sex change operations. I mean, when I grew up, the military wasn't about transvestites. It's about fighting wars. And the left has gotten so insane. I mean, look, I don't mean to disrespect or to discriminate against any LGBT or anybody else. I'm not going to discriminate against anybody in my lifetime. And yet the point is, why do we have to have the whole issue of public education come down to whether the kids are going to go into a unisex bathroom? I mean, it's absolutely absurd. And that's where the left goes. It goes to the extreme. It gets off the reservation with these questions, pursuing them. We've got a First Amendment that gives you freedom of religion. But if you want to object to these lifestyles, you got to do it. You got to lock yourself up in the closet and read the Bible to yourself. Well, that's not what Goodnight Obama is all about. I got a picture in here with the guys out with their pickup truck, and they're saying Goodnight Obama as he goes off stage left, and they've got their guns and their Bible. They're clinging to them. They're not giving them up over Obama, and nobody should. We got a Second Amendment, and I think Obama has no respect for the Second Amendment. Hillary would have been even worse. But I want to show you that picture here, if I can find it here in a minute, of him saying goodbye to the guns and the Bibles, because I think that's one of the points. Here we go. That's it. You see Obama's leaving stage left there, and the guys are there with their pickup truck. They got their flag, and they've got their guns. And if you take a look, the one of them, he's got his Bible. He's holding up Holy Bible, so Obama's sure to see it as he's exiting. And it says, and good night to all those clinging to their Bibles and their guns as Obama exits stage left.
Whoa. Well, let me ask you this. The pushback during this election, I'm sorry I didn't have you on during the election war, but the pushback now with the election of Trump and the percentage and the mandate that he comes into office with is more of a rejection of the left and political correctness and the establishment. First of all, what did you think of the election? I didn't get a chance to ask you that.
Well, I've known Donald Trump for a long time, and I worked very hard in my writing with WND to WorldNet Daily, and to make sure that Trump got elected. I supported Trump, and I continue to support Trump. I think he is at the end of the political correctness. I think you see the country as a whole, except for the two wacky coasts, and I'm in New York today. I live in New York and New Jersey, but between New York and New Jersey and Hollywood and the extreme coast, because if you took out, San Francisco to San Diego, the rest of California is conservative. Just like if you take out New York City and the boroughs, the rest of New York is conservative. It's predominantly a red state by territory, but the cities are Democratic. And that's been the problem we've had, is the Democrats have, gotten hold of these cities, and they continue to vote welfare and money to these cities, and the cities get more and more unlivable. That's the problem. And the Democrats don't have a policy that works. And eventually America wakes up to this and says, we're tired of hearing about Barack Obama preaching to us about Islam and all the other things. Can't even say, people get killed. He can't even say it's radical Islamic terrorism, because we're not supposed to say that. Well, after a while, I'm so sick of the political correctness, I can't stand it anymore. And I think the majority of the country is that way too. And Donald Trump is going to be president. All this nonsense with the recounts only increase. Donald Trump's now won twice. won the recount and the election, and he'll win the Electoral College. It's all nonsense. The left is completely wacky. They're doing what Hillary Clinton accused that Trump was going to do. Remember the debate? She said, now, it'd be disgraceful if you'd objected to the outcome of the election. Of course, when the left objects to it, double standard, hypocrisy, the left is completely into hypocrisy. My book, look at the Amazon reviews, say I'm a hater, book shouldn't be published, I ought to be put in jail or killed. The left is kind of like Muslims. If you say anything about the Prophet Muhammad, you're supposed to be killed. Well, that's not the First Amendment. That's not what America is about. It's what the loony left is about. And Hillary Clinton take her beautiful pantsuits and exit stage left with Barack Obama, as far as I'm concerned.
Let me take a quick break here, Jerome. We're talking to Dr. Jerome Corsi. He's a senior staff writer for WND Books. His latest book, it's a parody, and it's a great one. Goodnight Obama. You may want to check that out and at WND, or you can go to goodnightobama.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Welcome back to Focus Today, and what a delight and an honor to have back with us our good friend Dr. Jerome Corsi. He's the WND senior staff writer. He's written so many books. You can go to WND, check him out. His latest book is a fun one to have, Goodnight Obama, and it shows the president sleeping on the desk in the Oval Office with some golf clubs up against the wall. That's just the beginning of the book. You may want to get a copy of it, Goodnight Obama, goodnightobama.com. All right, Joan, a couple of things I wanted to get your thoughts on. What do you think so far of Trump's appointments?
I think they're pretty good. I mean, nobody's going to like every one of them. There's, going to be some things to object here and there to, but the one I especially liked was putting Rick Perry in charge of the Department of Energy, because if you remember, it was the Department of Energy that Rick Perry couldn't, it was the department he wanted to eliminate, that he couldn't remember in the debate. Remember that ended his kind of presidential ambition?
Yeah.
And so putting him in charge of the Department of Energy that he couldn't remember but he wanted to eliminate, I think it's just fine. And then they delivered this questionnaire to the Department of Energy with all these questions about who was in favor of climate change, and the Department of Energy refused to respond to President-elect Trump's questions. So I think that's insubordination. I think Rick Perry's got all that he needs, come in there and fire everybody. And I hope he does. Because, it's another loony left. I mean, I'm here in New York City. It's freezing. It's hugely cold here. And we're going to have one of the, very cold winter. The Russian scientists, of course, the Russians did not hack the election and did not. That's another fake news by the Republicans that are going to have to deal with, because it's fake news on the part of the Democrats and the CIA and the New York Times. But the point is, Russian scientists have said that the sun is at a minimum, and that means the Earth is probably going to go through a cooling period, maybe in a little ice age. And, the Democrats want to give them a news flash, and the news flash is sun heats Earth. These are hard concepts for Democrats to get around their minds around, but, sun heats Earth, and at nighttime, it isn't somebody turned out the lights burning carbon, it's that the sun is on the other side of the Earth. So, sun heats Earth, Earth revolves. I mean, I hope the Democrats can get this concept in their minds.
Interesting. So what do you think's next for Hillary, and what do you think's next for her investigation?
I don't think the investigation is going to stop unless Obama pardons her, because there's too much on the Clinton Foundation alone. I wrote the book on, partners in crime. Clinton Foundation is a criminal enterprise. They're clearly using the money to enrich themselves. Now we've got Doug Band's emails. He headed to NAO, and he wrote emails objecting to him being thrown out of the Clinton Foundation by the law firm that came in and did a review of all the things wrong with the Clinton Foundation. And Doug Band makes it clear that Bill Clinton was earning money on the side. The conflicts of interest were abundant. It's a criminal enterprise. It wasn't a foundation. They spent only about 5% doing any good work. Ask the people from Haiti how much the Clintons helped Haiti. They raped Haiti and took the money.
Right.
So Hillary belongs in an orange jumpsuit behind bars, and I don't know that the country will do it because I don't think we have the heart to be that, punishing on our former First Lady and Secretary of State, but it's what she deserves for what she did. And I think Hillary would be best to close the Clinton Foundation, fade into the sunset. I'm tired of hearing about Hillary. She take her beautiful pantsuits with her.
Newt Gingrich said yesterday, I find this interesting because he doesn't seem to be getting a position close to President-elect Trump, neither does Giuliani. But Newt Gingrich said yesterday his mission over the next 2 years is to go after the left media. Wow. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's a good idea. I wrote Goodnight Obama. I want to see people all the way through the inauguration standing in front when Trump's being inaugurated and Obama's sitting there. Hold up the book. Say, good night, Obama, and don't let them hit you on the way out. When Trump met with Obama in the Oval Office, I looked at those pictures and I thought Trump's saying, why don't you just pack your stuff and get out? Trump wasn't interested in anything Obama had to say. Now, he'll listen to him, he'll talk to him, but he also talked to Al Gore. He talked to Mitt Romney. He played Mitt Romney like a Stradivarius. So Mitt Romney was on his knees. After all the hateful things that Mitt Romney said, he's going to dinner with Donald Trump in Jean George's, one of the fancy restaurant in New York, great restaurant, and leading Romney on, talking to him, listening to him, and then saying, well, Mitt Romney, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be Secretary of State, but I'm sure glad you came to dinner with me and changed your mind, knelt at my altar. That's not. He loves doing that. He had the last laugh. So I'm saying here, we got a chance to have a last laugh. Let's take it.
Well, I have to add to you, I love your levity in all of this. This is wonderful. President-elect Trump is meeting with everybody. I've never seen a pre-elected president, doing what he's doing. He met with all the tech guys. He's met with Hollywood entertainers. He's met with people who called him every name in the book. What's he doing?
Well, see, Donald Trump, I've known Donald Trump for 40 years. And Donald Trump and I have talked to each other and spent time. And I have great admiration for him. When he ran his businesses, and in New York City, and I've spent much of my life in New York City, it's been better for Donald Trump having been born in many different ways. And Trump is a master at being able to play the city. New York City is a very tough place. It's mostly leftist. It's mostly, take the boroughs together. And it's one of the major forces in New York State. New York State's mostly conservative, except for New York and the boroughs. Donald Trump did fine here. He'll entertain people. He'll have them to dinner. He'll talk to them. It doesn't mean he agrees with them. Doesn't mean he's going to believe what they say. But he's going to be able to entertain them and take them in and make them feel as if they're being listened to, which he's good at. And at the same time, he remains his own person. So the fact he had a meeting with Al Gore comes down and says, I think I really made some points. I said, Al, you've just been taken in. You just got played by one of the masters. You didn't even know it. Played you like cards. And you didn't know it was being done to you. That's how good Donald Trump is.
All right. Of all the things that's on his plate, and everybody has their interest, What would you like to see him tackle first? We heard yesterday from his speechwriter that the Supreme Court nominee has been narrowed down to 4, and he could even name that person the first week that he's in office. What do you think? What do you think is going to be some of the first things he does?
Well, he might even name the person in his inaugural speech. Remember, he named General Mattis when he was giving one of his, his thank you tour speeches. Trump doesn't hold secrets very well. He likes to blur them out and get he'll probably say it in the inauguration, even who he's going to nominate or hint at it. I think he'll go. The first thing he can do, which is very easy, is to sign an executive order rescinding Obama's executive orders. That's just one signature and they're all gone. And then there's going to be, he's already started being more presidential than Obama. This is one of the most presidential transitions I've ever seen. And look at the stock market. The Federal Reserve increased interest rates 25 basis points. Well, if they'd done that under Obama, the stock market would have lost 1,000 points. Stock market's close to 20,000. It may cross 20,000. It's right up there now. It's up 140 points today, right now. Well, that's a Donald Trump, bounce. That's a Donald Trump rally. You don't see, even with the Federal Reserve increasing interest rates, the world knows, I think America knows, that Donald Trump is going to get his tax cut. It's going to be an end to these regulations. I'd like to see us close down the federal government by department. I remember, I spent 25 years in banking, and I remember being in an insurance company, and the president asked me how he could turn his company around. And I said to him, why don't you fire by floor in this building? He said, what floor? Probably start. It really doesn't matter. Pick one. Pick any floor you want. Pick one. Just fire it. He says, well, should I eliminate the floor at the top? I said, no. Start here. Fire everybody right now. Said you'll improve the place.
Last question, Jerome. I wish I had you for a whole hour, but I don't. What do you think, Secretary nomination of Rex Tillerson?
Well, I like having a business guy being, in the Secretary of State. He's probably going to have some talking to about, abortion and some of his other ideas. But I don't see we have to fight with Russia or China. I mean, look, it's like sun heats earth. You got 3 superpowers. You got the United States, Russia, and China. And this is going to change for a long time. And Russia's going to have its sphere of influence. It's going to be Eastern Europe. It's going to be Ukraine. It's going to be Crimea. China's going to have the South China Sea. I'm sorry, they got it. They got a lot of Asia. They're going to be the dominant force in Southeast Asia. And we've got North America, Canada, South America. That's our sphere of influence. And that's the way it's going to be for a while. We might as well just coexist. And if Russia wants to put the army in to kill ISIS, I'd say, can we send you some munitions? You might need a little bit of rearming. We'll help you out. Let Russia do it. But Russia, we don't need to be fighting China. And I think, and we don't need to be letting them take advantage of us either with these stupid trade deals. China is absolutely irresponsible, and Donald Trump's going to call them out on it. Quit manipulating your currency. Quit, doing what you do to manipulate the market. And if we want to trade with us, you're going to trade fair. We're not going to trade with you. And they'll trade fair. Donald Trump, I think, is going to come to accommodation. And I think putting the head of Exxon in tells Russia a couple things. One is, I've written books saying carbon fuels are here to stay. There's no end to energy. There's no end to carbon fuels. There's no end to coal. And Russia's got plenty of it too. Let's all work together and let Russia build the pipelines it wants to build and help them out. A strong Russia is going to be a more stable world. Same with China.
Interesting. Jerome, good to see you, my friend. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Let's stay in touch. It's been too long.
And go buy the book up at the inauguration. Goodnight, Obama. Don't look.
You know, just remember the golden rule or the law of reciprocity. What goes around comes around. So somebody will do a Goodnight Jerome book.
That's okay with me too. I'm not planning to be here forever.
Good to see you. Merry Christmas, friend. All right, we'll be right back.